Hello, welcome to My Behavior Assistant's video tutorial series. Today we'll be learning how to create or add additional users to your organization, school, or school district. In this demonstration, we'll learn the various roles you can assign to a new user, the two user roles that have the ability to add new users, some steps and other things to consider prior to adding new users, and finally, we'll access My Behavior Assistant and walk through the process of creating additional users step by step. There are 5 different user roles you can assign to a new user in My Behavior Assistant. Client Administrator. Some examples of a client administrator include superintendents, principals, SPED directors, and university professors. Every organization starts off with a single client administrator. Typically, it's the individual who signed your organization up for My Behavior Assistant. They have the ability to create or edit your organization within My Behavior Assistant. A client administrator may also assign new users, such as our next user role, a coordinator manager. Examples of a coordinator include RTI coordinators, lead general education teachers, special education teachers, and team-based leaders. Coordinators are typically more involved in the day-to-day management of My Behavior Assistant than a client administrator. Commonly, they are the person responsible for selecting students for interventions, defining target behaviors, and setting goals, either with a team or individually. The coordinator role initiates the interventions within My Behavior Assistant and is often tasked with providing guidance to other user roles, like teachers, who will be rating and entering data into My Behavior Assistant. Teachers are the observers. They rate the student's behavior and enter the data into My Behavior Assistant. Mentors. The role of mentor is assigned primarily with the check-in, check-out intervention. Parents can be added, allowing them to access My Behavior Assistant to view their child's progress with an assigned intervention. Similar to the teacher and mentor roles, a parent will only have access to view a student specifically assigned to them. Here's a quick graphic that breaks down the user roles by task or access within the system. As you may have already picked up on from the previous slide, the 2 user roles that are authorized to add additional users in My Behavior Assistant are client administrators and coordinators. However, unlike client administrators who can see all schools, users, and students added to the organization, a coordinator is assigned to a specific school or schools and will only be able to view and manage others designated to them. We're nearly ready to access My Behavior Assistant and view the steps to adding a new user. However, there are some things to consider and steps that should be taken beforehand. One of the steps in creating additional users is to assign them a school or schools. The client administrator will need to do that for at least the first coordinator. Afterwards, the role of coordinator will also have the ability to create additional schools as needed. Although we won't be adding students in this specific tutorial, that process is more efficient if you add all users who will potentially fill some role in a student's intervention beforehand. And one last item. You should communicate with everyone you intend to add to My Behavior Assistant before doing so. As you may now be familiar in activating your own account, the process instantly triggers an activation email to the new user. You can imagine what some might do with email messages containing an activation link for an unknown or unsolicited service. They might delete, block, or report the message as spam, making the account activation process more difficult than it otherwise would have been had they been expecting its arrival. Alright, now on to the easy part, accessing My Behavior Assistant and creating a new user. Using your web browser, navigate to mybehaviorassistant.com. Enter your email address and password and click Submit. From the dashboard, choose Manage Account, Manage Users. At the bottom of the Manage Users screen, you have Add User. I'm going to click on that and input the information. including email address. Using the drop-down, select the user role for the new user and choose the school or schools. And the last drop-down menu selects whether you're giving that person access to the graph, the student's graph. After all the information is input, simply hit create. And repeat the process for any additional users you wish to add. As you can see, it really is quite simple and only takes a moment. On behalf of all of us at the Institute for Evidence-Based Reform, we would like to thank you for using My Behavior Assistant. Have a great day.